Alright guys, here is the AirAssist nozzle. This is the file that I use obviously to print and what have you. Quick tutorial on how to make this. So assume that you have some of the basics down, so I'll just kind of skip some of those real basics, but I'll do a sketch on my floor here. Now I've done some measuring, and I essentially get 18 millimeters for the diameter of that brass nozzle deal in there. So 18 millimeters is the size that I'm going to use. Now, some people mentioned that maybe this is a little bit tight, so you might consider doing something like 18, 0.1 or something like that, 0.25, something, to get yourself some extra space there. But I'm going to go ahead and stick with 18, and I have my project defaulted to millimeters. So here you can see that here. If you wanted to change that, you can change that to whatever you like, right? All right, so there is our starting point. Now, I know I want this plastic to be, about 2 millimeters thick, nothing too insane. So we're just going to go and we're going to offset this 18, and we're going to do that by 2 millimeters. All right, pretty straightforward. Now, that's going to be kind of our bottom reference point. Now, I'm using this, I'm cheating a little bit. I did a lot more of this, freehand, but since I have this model to use, I'm going to cheat. So this distance here is 18.5. So I want that from essentially from the bottom to where the cone starts. I want that to be about 18.5 millimeters. And so in order to achieve that, there's a couple ways to do so. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on this here. I'm going to hit E for extrude, and we're going to go 18.5. There you go. Now from here, I want to draw this cone shape. I'm going to utilize the Loft tool to do that, but in order to loft, we are going to need some reference lines, and so pretty simple. I'm just going to draw on this face here, and I'm going to project these two lines onto that. There we go. Then we're going to create a construction plane here. We're going to create that from this. Now I am going to cheat again. What is that distance? Let's see. I cannot remember. Can't remember what I chose there. Let's go back and see if I can't cheat a little bit. Back in the timeline. Well, what if we try something like... So 23.5, 18.5, use with 5 millimeters, is that right? We'll test it. You can get your measurements, you can make this whatever size you want, right? But the main thing here though is that we have our initial cone, we have our reference lines on top of that, and then we are going to draw an offset plane. So we're going to use this as our starting surface, and we're just going to, based off of our guess there, we're going to say that it's about 5 millimeters to the top. All right, now one other thing we can do is draw a sketch on this plane now, and we can use this center as our point. Now, I don't know exactly the size of the laser. I think it's smaller than 1 millimeter, so you might even be able to go smaller here. But I just chose 1 millimeter. Seems to be like a good size that kind of, it really like maximizes the air assist. So, I had it at 2 millimeters before, and I was getting some decent airflow, but I didn't even realize it. Once I put it down to 1 millimeter and printed it, the airflow was just so much better. So, at your own risk, of course, but I recommend that 1 millimeter. This one here, we want to offset that again. Pick and choose what you want this to look like. 5, I'll go with 0.5 millimeter on that. That's how wide I want that nozzle to be, not anything too crazy. And there we have it. We have our body piece, which we'll go ahead and hide. We have then on top of that body piece, we have our reference drawing lines here. And then above that, we have the other reference drawing lines. So we'll go ahead and use Loft now that we have everything here. So we'll go in and choose Loft. We're going to say we want to loft this to this. And you're going to see that it gives me like a full cone loft. We'll just say OK. And now this is like a solid cone, right? Well, we just basically want to loft again, but instead of joining, we want to cut. So I need those reference lines back. I'm going to open up my sketches and turn those last 2 sketches on. go back in Loft again, and then this time I'm going to grab it from here to here, and we'll say cut. And as you can see, we now have a dome and a cone. Everything we need. Here it is. That's basically, what's this one? 3 millimeters? I made that one 2, so we could probably, that's fine, whatever. This size here, I just went off of the size of my my hose. And so, you could do the same thing. I just, made the diameter of it just so it'll fit in, and then I added these little nub deals here so that it will grip a little bit better. So my reference is going to be 3.1, and then we're going to go with an offset. So this one is a little bit more tricky. Obviously you set this one how you want to set this one, but it's a round curved surface, and so it's very difficult to essentially place this where you want to place it. So a couple ways to do it. Personally, I like to I don't know, I guess I've done it a couple different ways, so I can't say I like to do it a certain way. I'm trying to think how I would even do it right now. Let's see, how do we do this last time? So I feel like maybe what I did was I drew a shape, just a reference shape by itself. So we'll click here, we'll do 3.1, we'll offset that by 1 is fine. And then if we extrude this, can make it, I don't know, we'll just call it 10 millimeters for shits and giggles, maybe 15 millimeters, there we go. And then now we can take this body and we can move it over here somewhere. And then you kind of just play with the positioning. See how that looks. I'd say it's looking pretty good. Now we're going to join them. Join this one to this one, and we are going to, okay, they changed this button on me, so we're going to cut. So I always do that backwards, so we're going to use this one and this one, and we're going to cut, but we're going to keep the tool. That should give us this little face in here. We'll remove that. Let's go ahead and all right, so let's go ahead and split this body using, no. How did I curve that last time? See, these are the things. I don't even know how I did some of this stuff anymore. Gosh, man, I'm putting myself on the spot too. I didn't really prep for this. Just kind of came into it. All right, so let's say we want to split. Let's say maybe we want to split this body, and we want to use this face as a reference tool. Okay, that should be good. We'll say, okay, that should give us this piece here. Boom, and boom. Okay, that's looking better. Now we technically still have these two pieces that are separate, so we will go in and combine them. In this case, we're going to do a join, and we don't want to keep the tool. We want them to be one and the same. And there you have it. Some imperfections in the model can probably be cleaned up pretty easily. Just selected that little hole and hit the delete key. The delete key will auto repair that face for you. Usually it works pretty well. Sometimes it does not work all that great. So there we go. We have our basic shape here. So let's see. How in the world do we do this one then? I like to maybe extrude, and we're going to extrude this one -1 millimeter. We're going to actually, instead of cutting, we're going to make a new body. That'll be good. We will isolate this body. We're then going to offset this body's face by 0.5, was it? It gives us 1 millimeter extra all the way around. Unisolate. Looks about right. Let's see, what was these ones? 5.75, 6.10, So how about we go into that offset face, instead of being 0.5, we make it 0.25. See what that looks like. Okay, close enough for me. Close enough for me. All right, so there we go. Well, then we're just going to simply copy this and paste this, right? So now, actually, one thing I might do before I copy and paste is I might add this little chamfer here to allow that hose to slide on just a little bit easier. So we'll click this little edge here. We'll go into chamfer, and we will make it just some arbitrary number. Yeah, 0.4 is good. And there we have it. Now we can copy it, and we can paste new. Is there a paste new? No, it's a body, not a component, so we're fine. And then you can just arbitrarily space these out wherever you see fit. And if you wanted to do like a repeat tool or a pattern tool, that'd probably work here, but it's just a one-time deal. Now, I'm definitely not showing people how to model things that you're going to make changes to over time, have many different versions and alterations of. This is kind of just like a one and done type of deal. So there are definitely some best practices with this program. If you plan on building one model and wanting to use that one model to make changes, wall thickness, various things, definitely look into some tutorials on the parametric modeling. Definitely much better than having to go through and change everything one by one. There you go. So that's essentially it. I'm just going to combine these while we have it, and I'll just select everything here. We'll just say combine, and there we have it. Now, I also like to change the color, so we'll do that there. There you go. It's essentially the same exact thing that we are working with. All right, hope you liked that crash course. I guess maybe the last piece to show you is to export it. So you can do this 3D print option here. I've never really used it that much, so definitely explore that. But what I typically do is hit this export option, change the type to STL, give it some sort of a name, choose the location in which I want to store it, and then export. Rest of it's history. Good luck, guys.